Stan the Annuity Man here with the burning question that everyone's asking. What is the best annuity to buy? Only ask that question to me, please. Don't ask that question to anybody else because they will tell you which one. And by the way, there is not just one. So what we're going to do today is talk about all types of annuities that are out there, and then the benefits and the limitations, and then a couple of easy to remember acronyms and questions that will help determine what type of annuity makes sense for you, and maybe an annuity doesn't make sense for you at all, and that's okay. I just want to educate you on how they actually work and not some sales pitch. Now, hang in there with me to the end of the video, and I will tell you how to get these 6 owner's manuals that I've written. You can get them on Amazon if you don't want to interact with us, that's fine. Or I can ship them to you for free, no obligation, no cost to you. So let's get started on how to determine what type of annuity is the best and what's right for you. All right, so let's talk about annuities. Let's just do a brief overview of kind of what they are. They're contracts. If you don't believe me, you're going to get one. If you buy one, you're going to get a contract. They're transfer risk products. You're transferring the risk to the annuity company to solve for a specific goal of yours. They were developed in the Roman times, way back in the day, as a pension plan for the dutiful Roman soldiers and their families, and also been sold in this country for hundreds and hundreds of years. But with that being said, now we're in the situation where we have 10,000 baby boomers retiring every single day. There's a lot of people that are out there trying to sell annuities. So which one's good? Which one's the best? Which one's right? Well, I've come up with a couple easy to understand and remember things to kind of filter all of the noise down. First thing is 2 questions to ask and answer to even determine if you need an annuity. So the first one is, what do I want the money to contractually do? Second is, when do I want those contractual guarantees to start? So if you answered the first question, what do I want the money to contractually do, and you say, I want market growth, you don't need an annuity in my opinion. But if you say, I need income, great. Let's go to the second question. When do you want those contractual guarantees to start? I need income to start in 3 years. Okay, great. Let's quote a deferred income annuity and an income rider. That's how easy it is, those 2 questions. Then from those 2 questions, you go to the acronym I've come up with called PIL. P stands for principal protection, I stands for income for life, L stands for legacy, the other L stands for long-term care / confinement care. Now, if you don't need to solve for any of those 4 items contractually, in my opinion, Stan the Annuity Man, #1 agent on the planet, licensed in all 50 states, you don't need an annuity. But what about growth? What about market? In my opinion, I think if you want true market growth, you should not buy an annuity. That simple. Annuities are contracts. You own them for what they will do, not what they might do. So if you ask the 2 questions, what do I want the money to contractually do, and when do I want those contractual guarantees to start? And then think of the PIL, principal protection, income for life, legacy, and long-term care. That should determine, A, if you need an annuity, and if you do need an annuity, what type, and then we can help you get those quotes at stantheannuityman.com. So what's the best type of annuity to buy? Who the heck knows, right? There's no good answers, just bad sales pitches. But I got a call the other day, and the person said he was referred to me by his friend who was a client. I said, that's great. And I think he just called me because he felt guilty, and then when I had to tell his friend, yeah, I called Stan, just like you said. But he was a hater. He hated annuities from the time we got on the phone. I told him, I was like, you need to calm down. So what do you need to do? What do you want your money to do? When do you want it to do that contractually? And we got into that conversation, and come to find out, he was retiring in, say, 4 years, and he was going to need an X amount of gap of income filled. So my question to him was, how are you going to fill that? You know, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to take my investments, I'm going to peel off the gains and blah, 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 and you know, I'm just going to do that. I'm like, fine. I mean, that's fine. Keep your powder dry, invest the money, etc. But what happens if there's a market hiccup or a world event or something really catastrophic that hurts the markets for a while? And he didn't really have a good answer to that. So I said, listen, that's probably not going to happen. I'm not trying to do fear selling, of course. I'm not going to do that. But what's your plan B? What are you going to do? And he said, well, I really don't know. I said, here's a thought. why don't you solve for half of that gap income you're going to need, and then keep the rest of the powder dry and peel off the gains or interest, and then you achieve, nirvana of that income flooring. He liked that. We did that. And I think he's going to be a better investor because that gap that he needed to fill, we filled half of it contractually for the rest of his life and his wife's life. And so I've got a feeling that when we get to that point, he'll probably buy an immediate annuity to fill that gap again. And I told him that. Why don't you just manage the other part? And then when we get to that 4-year time period, we can also buy you an immediate annuity at that time with the gains. That's kind of his plan. I hope it works out because if he's made the money in the markets, he can still keep his powder dry, peel off that interest gains, buy the immediate annuity, fill the income gap, and continue on. So what is the best annuity type to buy as we've gone through in this video? Not a perfect answer to that question, right? Unless you're in a pure sales pitch mode, which I'm not. But let's go over kind of the types real quick about, and how they fit. And then, you ask the 2 questions, you use the pill, but let's go through the types really quickly. Single premium immediate annuities, that's for income now. That's for when you need income to start right now, it's a lifetime pension. Deferred income annuities, that's for income later. Qualified longevity annuity contracts in your IRA, that's for income later. Income riders are for income later. Multi-year guarantee annuities are for principal protection, like a CD. Fixed index annuities are for principal protection, like a CD. And then variable annuities really are the only kind of growth product out there, even though I don't sell variable annuities, disclaimer, I just only do contractual guarantees. But that's kind of the broad brush of how they all work. So remember the 2 questions, what I want the money to contractually do and when do I want those contractual guarantees to start, and pill, principal protection, income for life, legacy, and long-term care, to determine if an annuity fits your specific situation. Okay, we got to the finish line. We're going to talk about how you get the books. First of all, go to this next video that I did. Actually, it's on multi-year guarantee annuities, one of the books I'm going to send you, which is the annuity industry's version of a CD. It's a good place to park money, and I think you'll like that video. So let's talk about how to get the books. There's a more info thing down there. You see that? Click that. Before you click that, stop. Before you click that, click the subscribe button. Subscribe to my YouTube videos, which we're just hammering these things out every single week. There's 5 new ones, and I'm trying to educate the world on annuities and try to get everybody understanding they do have their place in a lot of cases. But click the subscribe button and then click more info. You'll see it collapse down. Does it collapse down? That doesn't make sense. You're going to see more information down there. You're going to see a link to click that you fill in your shipping information. I'm going to ship the 6 books in this beautiful gold foil envelope. These are the books, no obligation, no cost. They'll be there in about 7 to 10 days. And then you can, engage with it if you want. If you want a quote, go to stantheannuityman.com. You can email me a question at stan@stantheannuityman.com. And you can also schedule a call as well. Thanks for joining us.